Trisha at the Inky Planner, and I thought I'd do something a little different today and just give you a little flip through of my A5 planner so you can see how I decorate, how I organize, and what sections I use, and just see if any of it makes sense to you or inspires you to try something in your own planner. So let's go ahead and just take a peek. Right now I have my pages in my nude Filofax, which I love. I also use the Platinum Carpe Diem planner from Simple Stories. I love that as well. I think I'm drawn to more neutral colors in the planner because I feel like then on the interior you can kind of go nuts and everything. It's kind of a neutral backdrop to work with. So I love them both, and let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so scoot this over so you can see. All right, I don't have a ton. I love how people decorate this inside flap when they have all sorts of pockets and things going on in here. Because the Filofax only has these little slits and one pocket here, I don't tend to put much here. If I put a lot of clips and things, it tends to bump into the front of my planner and it doesn't close the way I like it. So it's a little boring right here. I do have my, I often use the black pen this week. I have a kind of a navy theme going on, so I have like a navy blue friction erasable pen. But I do keep that here, which I really like. And then at the moment, I'm playing around with my first ever like traveler's notebook size. This is from Coco Daisy, and it's just beautiful, but I'm still kind of figuring out the best ways to use it. So what I did was I actually bought an older one that was on sale. I think it was September, and I chose it because I loved the designs and because it had the same start date. Like the first of the month was on a Tuesday, which was the same as March, and this was a September. So I just covered September up with a label and made it into March, and then I added the 31st since September only has 30 days. And then I'm still like toying around with this. I have a page for some gratitude stuff, a page for some high-level goals. Flip through. I've got a page for like stuff I love about this month, and I'm just sort of filling that in, and some weekly. So this is just tucked in the front here, and that way if I go somewhere and I don't want to bring my big bulky planner and I just want to sort of bring this as a little reference or something to do or scribble in while I'm waiting in line for my kids or something, I'll bring that. So but on to the A5 setup. I like 5 different sections in mine, and I have a couple times now I have made my own dividers, which lots of you do. Sorry about the glare here. I have terrible lighting and I should work on that. But this paper from Felicity Jane, the moment I saw it, I just went nuts over it. I love the colors. I love how fresh and springy it is, but it still has sort of those clean lines to it that just appealed to me so much. So I cut it down and added a little washi. I cut with just my Big Shot. I cut circles and just glued them back to back on the paper to sort of reinforce this, and then laminated it for a tab. And then I just hand wrote my titles here. So every one of my dividers comes from the same Felicity Jane kit. This is from the March kit, and they're all from, it's called Tuesday. They're all from that same line. So just beautiful. You'll see them as I flip through, and I'll kind of walk you through the sections. First section is, in my world, is called eating. And I don't have to get into this too deep, but I do try to follow like a healthy eating plan. I'm not on a heavy-duty diet or anything, but we'd all love to lose a few, right? And I read a book by Haley Pomeroy, and it was called The Fast Metabolism Diet, and it just was made a lot of sense to me about food choices and portions and what to eat when. And so I just loosely try to remind myself what good choices look like, and to give myself a list. When I want a snack and I'm like, I need a little greens or something, it just helps me grab for that instead of grabbing for some bag of processed chips or something. So I kind of use this page to put in the front of my planner that I can reference all the time. I used, this is very, very heavily influenced by my unicorn planner on Instagram. She is one of my creative teammates at Studio L2E, and I loved how she did this. She did this for the 21-day fix diet, and I just sort of adapted it, the exact same thing she did, but I just applied, you know, sort of the rules of Haley Pomeroy's program. So this is like over on the side here. It sort of has like throughout the day what different food groups I try to allocate for each meal of the day, and I used these stamps from the latest release of Studio L2E to do that. And then within, you know, the veggie group, the fruit group, protein, I just sort of listed out some of my favorite choices. So that's how that works, and it's just a good little reference point for me in the front of my planner. So my second divider, again, try to get that glare out of there for you, is just this beautiful pink watercolor paper with some washi down the side. I love how that turned out. And this is for cleaning. I don't always like to put the repetitive chores of cleaning in my every single day of my week on 2 pages. You know, I always do laundry. I always, you know, do the dishes. I always wipe the kitchen counters and follow my kids around and try to clear the clutter. So I do have a little checklist to kind of make sure I get to all of that stuff. I mean, some of it's obvious, but you know, sometimes I like to remind myself, you know, have I gone through some of these things today? So I made a little chart. I think I just did this like in Excel or whatever, but it just has throughout the week, you know, some of my regular everyday chores, and then some empty boxes so I can kind of write in, all right, where am I in the cycle? Like, you know, tomorrow I'm going to do kids laundry or whatever. So I can write that in and check it off as I go, and then just sort of tear the sheet out and throw it in the garbage. And then I have some weekly things and some monthly things. So like, you know, I don't do the oven every week. I have a self-cleaning thing. I do that maybe once a month. I pull everything out of my fridge and wipe it all down once a month, you know, those kinds of ideas. So I have a little cleaning section. Then the next section, oh my gosh, this paper just makes me so happy. It's so pretty. Same thing, my Felicity Jane paper that I cut down, and the washi from this one came in the kit as well. It's this little tiny black and white stripe washi, and then I had a yellow kind of stripe washi as well, and then the black and white one on the other side as well. Kind of looked like a zipper or something, I thought. But love how that turned out. This section is my creative calendar. Love the back side of that too. And this is just a month on 2 page. I like sort of a 50,000 foot overview of the creative stuff. So super excited to say that recently I was asked to be part of the Studio L2E creative team. And with that came some schedules, you know, dates that some blog posts are due, and dates that my blogs that are pertinent to me will go live. So I wanted to note those things, as well as things just from my Instagram and from my own YouTube channel, because I'm trying to create more of these videos and put some more content out there, which I'm really enjoying. So this is a way for me to look at it at a glance, high level. I'm sorry if you hear some screaming in the background. I thought my daughter was upstairs. But anyway, so, you know, I used, again, Studio L2E stamps these boxes, and then I put some words right in there, and then on the ones that had a due date, I even put a little checkbox so I could mark off like when it's been completed. And then even after the fact, sometimes I'll go in and mark down when I posted something on YouTube so that I can get back and say to myself, okay, throughout the month, it was reasonable for me to get, you know, 3 videos up, or potentially 4, if I get this one out in time. So things like that. I have sort of this week that led up to the March release that was indicated with a little strip of washi, and then the release date that took place on the 12th of March, I noted here. So this just is a really good way for me to organize. These are planned to create Julie K's month on 2 page inserts, and I love them. I use the Carpe Diem ones in the back just because they came with my planner and they've been working fine for me, but I think when those run out, I'll switch over to these. But, you know, I kind of keep track of some goals that I have and some YouTube ideas. Like, for example, it says, if I can get that, let's do a planner setup or a flip through video. And here I am doing it. So when I get this posted, I can check that off. So things like that as I brainstorm. So that's in this creative section. Further on in the creative section, I have a really loose, like, chicken scratch notepad where I keep thoughts and ideas about project life. So as my week goes along and something comes up that it kind of strikes me as a story that I might want to tell, I will jot it here, and then when I start to do that week in project life, it reminds me of something that I want to document. And I even make, indicate if I have a photo to go, to support that story, I indicate it here. And it's really loose, really scratchy. I throw those out as soon as I'm done with them. But it's just a nice place. It's on the go with me, and it's a nice place for me to jot that down. Then I have blank sheets, and this is just an area where I play. So if I am inspired by something that I see, or a color palette, or a technique or something, I'll just play with stuff, and then this is sort of brainstorming for what might end up in like a future week on 2 page spread or somewhere else in my creative world. So I was liking pink and orange together here. I liked these little blocks of white on these labels and tiny bits of black. And I pulled some washi that coordinated. So anyway, you can see this is just me just playing, having fun, and I may pull elements of this into some future spread. So that's all I have here in the create section, just some brain dump spots as well as my calendar. In the notes section, this is sort of brain dump for my non-creative life, my household and my kids, and I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. So for example, my daughter's first communion is coming up, and we are having a reception back at our house, and so all of the planning for that party, who are we inviting, and what is going to be on the menu, and what time is it all going to happen, and how are we sending out invitations and things like that. This is my brain dump. I sit in line at pickup for school, and wherever I happen to have 5 minutes when the kids are at tennis lessons and I'm sitting there, my brain will be going, and I'll start jotting stuff down. So that whole section is just for any kind of projects like that, doing projects around the house or family things, whatever we have going on. My final section, it's hard to see how pretty that paper is. There we go. Really pretty. I love that paper. My final section is the planning section, and this is the stuff that I get to share on Instagram. And this is a combination of the monthly pages from the Carpe Diem line that came with my Carpe Diem planner, the platinum one, and then the week on 2 page spreads that I use, I print also from Plan to Create from Julie K that I downloaded on Etsy, and I print each month. So you can get a look, like here's a sample month on 2 page. They're all different. I do everything a little different. Like on March, I did a lot of watercoloring. This one was a lot of stamping. I went nuts with that hexagon, just the solid hexagon stamp from Studio L2E, and just made a big rainbow. Loved how that turned out. But I like the layout of these boxes. There's enough room to write. There's a little notes panel down the side there. So I've just been happy with those. And then on the back side, they always have a pretty coordinating paper. And then on the facing page, I've been getting into the habit of doing some sort of a dashboard or a mission board. Like if I flip back to January, this one looks entirely different than the February one, but I was sort of wanting to play off of this opposing pattern paper that I liked so much. So it's just little things that I'm trying to focus on. This was in January, so I was saying, I really want to focus on getting Project Life up and running, and things like being present with my kids, and just stuff that I want to focus on. Similar, a lot of them stay the same from month to month because I'm still working on them. But same kind of thing, like in this one I put surf less, you know, it's less time on devices, less time staring into our phones and our iPads, and just more time being in the moment, spending a little bit less, which is hard with all the craft goodies out there, but things like that. And then we get to the week on 2 pages, and these are, well, let me go ahead because I think I have in the back. Oh, I don't have any blank pages in here. I normally do. But the blank pages from Plan to Create are just, I love them because they are so clean and simple. They're a vertical format, which I really like. They have sort of a light gray print instead of a really harsh black. And they maximize the use, you know, you get full columns, which I really like, all the way to the bottom and all the way to the edges. So I get a lot of space in each day and enough room at the header to put the month title up there. But they just work really well for me, and I love that they're a blank canvas. So every week looks totally different. I can go with whatever colors I'm inspired by. And as you see, I flip through them and they look completely different each week. And most of these, if you follow me on Instagram at Inky Planner, I've posted pictures online so everyone's had a chance to see them in kind of static form. But although I follow a similar format in terms of where my, you know, eye is looking for things, I feel that they look different every week, and that makes me happy because it's fresh. Oh, here's kind of an example, although I stopped the printing halfway through because I realized I didn't need that page. But we get into March, and now in March I didn't even do a mission board. I think I was too busy. But I loved this paper and I wanted something really simple, so I just stamped and colored this bird with Copics and glued him on here. I really liked that. And then, you know, again, you get into each of the weekly pages and they all look different and beautiful and make me happy. This one I actually did a Plan With Me video on. If you haven't seen that, you'll see that previously on my channel. You can go find that. And it's interesting because I notice now, after the week is complete, how much I add along the way. When I was done doing the Plan With Me video, it was still prior to the beginning of the week. So it seems to evolve as the week goes on. You know, I add little, like I added the bird, I added some stamping. I went into these solid blocks with just a white Signo pen and wrote in the initial of whoever the event was for. I added this set of banner flags for my husband's birthday. I added a little arrow and the cross and the butterfly for Easter, plus of course all of the details of my week filled in. So, you know, all my to-dos got filled in. So it looks different here than it did at the end of my Plan With Me video, and that's why. But that tends to be the case. They tend to evolve as the week goes on. And then my most recent week, this is the current week that I'm on, so you can see it's bare from Tuesday forward because I haven't filled in all my to-dos. But they all make me very happy because everything looks different and fresh, and it's just whatever mood and whatever kind of palette has inspired me that week. And then, as you can see, I don't have any of my weeklies in after that. I just have these blank monthly pages. I don't forward plan in my planner at all. I don't typically use sticky notes. We have iCal and it's shared between my husband and me, and so we do everything in the computer, and then when it comes to the current week, that's when I put it on paper so that I can just get a better glance at it all. And then the last part of my planner, this cute little card. This is from the Reset Girl, where I bought my Carpe Diem planner. I loved how that looked on this back page. The last part is this vinyl pocket that came with the Filofax planner, and I just put tidbits in here. You know, I was playing around with watercolor the other night and I did these little tulips, and I thought, oh, that's a cute size, like it might fit in the bottom of a planner page at some point. So I just stuck it in here. Might grab it at some point in the future. And I do, this is another thing that I do is, if I can reach this, is I will custom color some Avery labels, just like plain white Avery labels, to match the current spread. Now obviously this is, if I go back, this is last week's spread, but those were in there from last week, so that if I have something along the way, and I think I grabbed a couple of them, while I'm on the run during the week, I can jot something in there and put it in, and it's not permanent, or, you know, it calls a little bit, like you can see one here, it calls a little bit more attention to the event, almost like the stamping does, but I don't have my stamps and everything with me while I'm on the run. So it's just a nice kind of portable way to finish that off. Okay, and like the last little thing that I might end up putting in here is any paraphernalia or I don't know, what would you call it, like memorabilia maybe from the week, if I get a business card or a letter or something that I might want to put into a scrapbook page or my project life. So for example, this week my daughter tried out for the talent show at her elementary school, and she's 7 and she insisted that she wanted to sing a solo and get up there by herself, and I was so nervous for her. I thought, oh my gosh, she's gonna freeze, but she didn't. She got up there, she went for it, and she was picked to be part of the show. So she was in the tryouts, and I was super proud of her, and that's a story I want to tell for this week. So I cut the little logo from, you know, their little elementary school talent show, and this will go into my project life when I get to that. So that's a great little pocket for stuff like that. And then in the back, again, not very decorative. I think I have like a summons for jury duty back here. But that's it. That wraps it up. And it seems to work really well for me. I know a lot of people put financial planning or like bills, and I don't have anything like that in here. In case you're wondering where that section is, we use Mint, which is a free online like money management. That works great for me. It tracks our trends and our spending and our bills and things like that. So for whatever reason, that's just, I've stuck with that program, and that doesn't find its way into my planner. But the rest of the kind of segments of my life do, and this system is working pretty well for me. So thank you for joining me to take a peek inside my planner. I hope you saw some inspirational ideas, whether it be in the you know, content of the pages themselves, or the way they're organized, or, you know, these layouts, whatever the case may be. But hopefully it's enjoyable to watch and maybe caught your eye somewhere and gave you an idea of your own. Thanks for joining me, and I really appreciate it. As I've said, I'm relatively new to this, and sure, enjoying this process. I'd love to know what everybody wants to see more of. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, I would appreciate a like or subscribing down below, and I will keep the content coming. Thanks, guys. Everybody have a great day.